Well, happy Monday morning, everybody. We're going to talk today about a fun little thing that I enjoy doing and that I've heard a lot of misinformation about. That's bundling. There's a lot of misinformation and issues, and if you've been selling on Amazon at all and are part of Facebook groups, I'm sure you've heard misinformation about bundling. You can do it, you can't do it. It's great to do, it's horrible to do. Let's see, I just got to make sure my microphone isn't overexposing here. There we go. That should be good. So there's a lot of different information out there, and this for people that are already selling on Amazon. You probably understand what a bundle is and how to do it, but we're just going to clear up whether you can do it and whether it's a good thing to do, whether you should do it. So there's a few ways we're going to do that. First thing is we're going to look at Amazon's policy themselves, because a lot of the times when I see discussions on bundling and whether you should or shouldn't do it, they never actually reference Amazon's policies and standard operating procedures and what Amazon says about bundling. And that's a huge issue, because if you're planning on bundling or selling on Amazon and you aren't actually referencing what Amazon says you can and can't do, you're going to end up in a world of trouble. And that's where people end up, doing things that they're not supposed to do. So for those of you who haven't yet started selling on Amazon, bundling is a good way to expand your product base and create new products and kind of dip your toe into what we call the private label or white label market. It's a market that you're essentially creating your own products. It's a way to dip your toe into that market without fully going and buying thousands of units, and it's a bit of a crossover between the two styles of selling on Amazon. One being wholesale, where you're buying stuff directly from brands and then turning around and selling that directly on Amazon on the existing listings, and the other being private label, where you're creating your own product and ordering it in bulk and then typically having it manufactured either overseas or here in the US, but you're ordering typically several thousand units at a time and then turning around and selling it. Both have their positives, both have their negatives, and we're not going to get into that today. But what we are going to talk about is this kind of sweet spot in the middle called bundling, and there's a lot of misinformation about bundling, like I've said already. But just as an example of bundling, so what do I have around here? See, now you can go, well, this guy definitely hasn't thought through life. So I don't have anything really on my desk that I could say is bundled. Oh, well, here we go. So I've got a coffee cup here. I've got my coffee cup. And a bundle idea for a coffee cup, there's a couple different things. So a lot of people get bundles and multi-packs mixed up. So if I were to take this coffee cup and I were to create a second listing or a second offering of two coffee cups that are just like this, it's just a black coffee cup. They have it up in the front office. I don't even know what it says. It's that one. Good coffee. So anyway, if I were to take two coffee cups and put them together, that would not be a bundle, according to Amazon's policy. That would be a multi-pack. And you can do multi-packs, and they're very good. But they have a different set of standards than a bundle. Okay, so the two are completely separate. So when I hear people talking about bundles being just two items that are the same thing, it's not a bundle, it's a multi-pack. And I know that may seem kind of semantics and how you say things, but it is important when you get into reading the policies about these things. Now, if I were to take my coffee cup and I were to bundle it with some coffee, then that would be a bundle. So I'd take the coffee cup, I'd say, well, people who are buying the coffee cup are probably going to want to buy coffee. So I am going to give them a sample of some really good coffee, some high-end coffee. I'm going to stick it in the cup, in a bag, in a cup, and we're going to sell it like that. And it creates value for the customer. It's something that they would already be purchasing, and you're providing it for them in one place where they can purchase it at one time. Another idea along the same lines would be if I sell coffee. I could sell coffee, and then on top of the coffee, I could also offer a bundle that includes filters. So I'd sell the coffee, and I'd sell the coffee and the filters. Now, you'll see in a second, and this is probably going to be a little bit longer of a video because we're going to read through these things and explain the ins and outs of the policies. But you're going to see in a sec just what Amazon is okay with and what they're not okay with. So we're just going to get into reading this. Ooh. Now I've got the hiccups because I was drinking coffee. Sad day. Oh well. So here we go. We're just going to get going and we're going to read this. So product bundling policy. Here's the deal. If people say you can't bundle, point them directly to this. This is Amazon's policy. There's another policy too that we're going to go through, and that's the variation policy. And that's oftentimes where people think that they can't bundle, because that is a variation policy. It restricts what you can and can't do on existing listings. And people get the two confused. We're going to go through both of them. So, sellers can create bundles. They can create. This is the Amazon's policy. Sellers can create bundles composed of different products to create a new bundled product. What do they say after that? Well-designed product bundles provide convenience and value to buyers. They're putting their stamp of approval on this. They're saying, hey, this is a good thing for buyers. Why? Because they can often get it for cheaper when it's bundled, because you're only paying one shipping and one FBA fee. That's a little trick that actually increases your profit margins too. When you're offering things in bundles, it's one FBA fee. Adhering to the policies on this page will help Amazon customers locate product bundles more easily and prevent duplicate or near duplicate listings. Okay, so they're saying, okay, this is a good thing. They provide convenience and value to the buyers, which that's what Amazon is about. It's about the buyers, not the sellers. And we need to adhere to the policies so that everything stays organized within Amazon's product catalog. That makes sense. They want their catalog and they want the offers and the listings to make sense. And they don't want the customers to get confused about what they're buying and who they're buying it from and where they're buying it. Okay, so general bundling. Don't list bundled products where the primary product, so the first product in the bundle, primary product typically is defined as the most expensive product. Is from the video games category or is a book, music, video, or DVD product. Those categories already have so many listings, they're like, just don't do it. Video games, I mean, it'd be real easy to take a video game and then create a little decal and sell it with the video game, and there you've got a different listing. But that's not helping the overall video game category, because people who are searching for a specific video game don't care, and it just creates confusion for the buyer. So they say, these categories, it's just going to create confusion if you do it. Don't do it. You may include book, music, video, and DVD, and video games items as secondary products in a bundle if they are related and complementary to the primary product in the bundle. For example, you can list a bundle composed of a yoga mat, the primary product, a yoga DVD, and a yoga book. So they're saying the yoga mat would be the primary product, and you'd be selling it as a yoga mat with these additional items. The referral fee, so that's for Amazon, it's typically 15%. Some categories it's 18%, some categories it's 12%, but I usually just plan 15%. For the primary products category, applies to the entire bundle, aka there's only one product category that they want you to stick the bundle under. All products and bundles must comply with Amazon's selling policies. More specifically, all products within bundles must adhere to the guidelines for each category. What does that mean? Well, it's just saying that because it's in a bundle, it still has to abide by everything else. AKA, you can't have restricted products in a bundle. you can't, kind of skirt the rules and get away with selling things, labeled that, if it's a food product and it's not labeled, properly to sell in the U.S., you shouldn't just throw that into a bundle because you can kind of disguise it in a different category. That's not okay. So they're saying, just because it's in a bundle doesn't mean that all the individual products. You have to still make sure the individual products are legal and ethical and moral to sell, essentially. So then, bundle images, features, and descriptions must also adhere to Amazon listing policies. AKA, you've got to write a good listing. If you're going to do this, write a good listing, keep it within the policies. Makes sense. Failure to adhere to the bundle policy, including the following detailed bundle guidelines, may result in the removal without notice of any bundled product listing, account suspension, or both. Amazon reserves the right to modify or revoke this policy at any time. That sounds big and scary. If you don't adhere to this, you can get your account removed. That doesn't mean that bundles are a bad thing, because as we've already noticed, Amazon says bundles are good. I'm going to slide the mic back because I still feel like I'm getting too much audio in. Maybe I'm not, and we'll figure it out when we get done. Pause for coffee. Coffee's almost done. So here's the deal. They have this bullet point on pretty much every single policy. If you break Amazon's policies, they can suspend your account. And they will if you do it too often. Typically, if you're selling a whole bunch of stuff and you have a bundle that they say, hey, this isn't quite what you're supposed to be doing on a bundle, they'll change the bundle, they'll change the listing, they'll inform you that they changed the listing, or they'll shut down the listing if it's something that doesn't abide by, all of the other silly policies. But you've got to be a repeat offender, really, or you have to have other things going on to get your account suspended, at least from my experience. I've had bundles that Amazon has changed things on and gone, well, we're going to adjust this a little bit because we don't think it's right. I disagree with Amazon, but, it's their sandbox. They get to make the rules. Okay. Detailed bundle guidelines. Bundles must consist of items that are highly complementary. This means items in the bundle enable or enhance the use of other items in the bundle or provide convenience to the buyer by purchasing them together, aka coffee, coffee cup, coffee filters. It's not a good bundle, coffee and ketchup. I don't know why I came up with ketchup. It's not a good bundle. Coffee and tea might be a good bundle. It's things that people would put out on a table for hot drinks if they had guests over. You'd make a couple pots of coffee and you'd have hot water out there with tea. So coffee and tea might be okay. It's not as highly complementary, but it's still complementary. But coffee filters, coffee pot, coffee filters, that kind of thing, highly complementary. And it's going to provide convenience to the buyer by purchasing them together, because someone who buys one is going to want the other. It's something that's used together. Bundles consisting of multiple single items that can each be identified by a unique ASIN or UPC and are sold together as a single offering. A pre-packaged kit or pack with multiple items that is identified by a single ASIN UPC is not considered a bundle. What they're saying is, if it comes from the manufacturer and it's already assembled and it has a UPC on the package, on the kit that comes from the manufacturer, it's not considered a bundle. That's just how the manufacturer sells it. Then it's just a single item. It's considered a single item even if there are multiple things in that. It's also saying if you sell 2 bags of coffee that are identical flavors, so they'd be the same ASIN or UPC, it's not considered a bundle. then it's a multi-pack, and there's a big difference. So they're saying, if the products can be identified by unique ASINs. So if you had 2 different coffee flavors, those would be 2 different UPC codes. So that would be a bundle. If it's 2 bags of identical coffee, it's not the same. It's not a bundle. It's a multi-pack. And these are just, detailed bundle guidelines. This is laying out what you should do. This is not saying you can't do it. I mean, look at how positively this is written. It's not, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Let me tell you, if you look into restricted products on Amazon, that's written in a very different tone. It's like, you can't sell any of these items or anything in these categories. And it's very, very specific and very written out and harsh. So, just saying, this is actually very permissive for an Amazon policy. And it's very instructive too, it's very helpfully written. So a bundle may be listed in a single category only, even if the products comprising the bundle are from multiple categories. If a bundle includes products from multiple categories, it may be listed only in the category of the highest priced item in the bundle. The only exception to this guideline is if the highest priced item is BMVD or video games, because bundles may not be listed in those categories. In these cases, the bundle should be listed in the category with the second highest priced item that is not BMVD or video games. What they're essentially saying is the highest priced item in the bundle takes precedent when you're writing the listing. When you create bundles, you have to write a listing. It's a new listing. You have to set it all up. And when you're telling Amazon which category this is in, you need to use the category for the highest price listing. So if you're selling a coffee pot, you're selling a coffee maker, and then you're selling coffee, the coffee maker is probably going to be the more expensive item. So you're going to list your product, you're going to list your bundle in home and kitchen, instead of grocery and gourmet like the coffee would be in. So, it makes sense, What do people identify with most? They're probably going to be looking for a coffee pot and see yours and see that it already comes with coffee, and that's going to pique their interest and buy yours because it adds value. Okay, so what's next? The bundle must have its own standard product identifier or manufacturer part number. The identifier of any individual product in the bundle may not serve as the identifier for the bundle, aka don't reuse UPC codes. You have to get your own UPC code. You can't use the UPC codes from the single products. Using a UPC from any single product in the bundle to identify the entire bundle may lead to immediate removal of the listing. Probably will. Or you're going to get merged with another listing and it's going to mess up your listing. It's not a good thing. You are responsible for obtaining a UPC for each bundle you create. Where do you find UPCs? I personally like speedybarcodes.com. You'll get a lot of people that say you need to go to GS1. For bundles, I don't think it's necessary. Do not include generic products in a bundle, as it may mislead customers into thinking the generic product belongs to the same brand as one of the branded products in the bundle. Generic products are identified as items with no brand whatsoever on the product or packaging, not just widely unrecognized brands. This is very important right here. So generic products are products you can pick up from anywhere. They're just stuff that's out there in bulk. Not just widely unrecognized brands means that if you're selling a product as a branded product, and creating your own packaging, it's not considered a generic product anymore. It's your own product. So you can private label stuff, and then you can bundle it with other items from other brands, and you can create a legitimate listing. Now the issue is, you're not supposed to include just generic products. A bundle can be composed of different branded items. However, the bundle itself should be branded according to the highest priced item in the bundle. This is something that's actually changed. It used to be that the bundle was supposed to be unique in and of itself if there were multiple items. So you could create a bundle and say it's these items and then put it under a different brand because it didn't abide by any single brand. Now they're saying, you should put it under the highest priced item in the bundle. And that makes sense, but you know what, you're also going to say, well, there's these other products in here from these other brands. So it's going to be very obvious to people who are trying to sell it, because you will have competition that occasionally comes on and sells you bundles, and that's okay. That happens a lot. And, quite honestly, I do it to people and other people do it to me. It's not a big deal. It happens. You're going to get a fairly long run time off of bundles. As in, you're going to be able to sell them profitably for a long time, at least from my experience. So what they're saying is essentially brand the bundle after the brand of the highest priced item. You can run into issues here if the highest priced item is in Amazon's GS1 database, because then it's going to be hard to pull that item using a UPC code that you bought and tell Amazon that it's the actual correct brand. And I think this is an error in Amazon's policy as far as how this works. You can start to create the listing with one brand, save it before you have the whole listing created, and then go in and change the brand, and it should work for you. Otherwise, you're kind of forced to put it under kind of a generic brand, which could end up being your brand. So essentially they're saying you want to represent to people the brands of the items that are in it, and the most expensive item, I also interpret this as the most expensive item / the item that people are actually going to be searching for and buying the most of. It's what's going to draw people to the bundle. It needs to be branded in that way. So if an item is a multi-pack, such as 6 pairs of socks, list it as a single product and not as a bundle. See UPCs and item package quantity for multi-packs. So they're saying if it's a multi-pack and not a bundle, like we said earlier about having a single ASIN or a pre-packaged kit, you need to list it as a multi-pack as a variation on the single product listing. So if an item is a variation of a parent product, list it as a variation within the parent product's family and not as a bundle. So if it's supposed to be a variation, it's not a bundle, make it a variation. That's what multi-packs are for. Bundles should not be in multi-packs, or bundles should not be variations. That's where a lot of the issues come, in my opinion. There are people who teach you how to do bundles, and they teach you to add them to existing listings, and it's completely and blatantly wrong and against Amazon's policy. I won't get onto my high horse on this, but it's not supposed to be done. And it says it specifically in Amazon's policies. And this is where you get people saying, well, bundles shouldn't be done. Bundles are against policy because they've been taught to put bundles as variations. They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be their own standalone listings. If you match your bundle to an existing bundle listing, the products in your bundle must be exactly the same as the products in the existing bundle in every respect. I can't emphasize this enough. If your bundle is different in any way, you must create a new bundle listing. You may not change the existing listing to align to the specifications of your new bundle. So let's have an example of this. Say I am selling a Mr. Coffee coffee pot, and I don't know why I'm on coffee this morning, but I am. Probably because I haven't had enough of it yet. You wouldn't know it. So, say I'm selling a Mr. Coffee coffee pot, and I include, say I have a gourmet coffee roaster in my area that sells their own product in local grocery stores, and I approach them and get their products wholesale. And I'm selling a Mr. Coffee coffee product with French vanilla flavor from a 16-ounce bag of French vanilla flavor from my local coffee brewer who has a brand. You can't come onto that listing and sell a Mr. Coffee coffee pot with a 16-ounce bag of French vanilla from another brand. It's not exactly the same. And you can't go on and change the listing to say, well, and just delete out the brand of the coffee. I don't know of any branded coffee in my area that I could use, otherwise I'd be, using a brand. You can't go on and change it to just have a bag of French vanilla coffee in it, because they want you to explain who the brand is in the listing. So that's why I say bundles essentially start to create very good products that have long run rates, because if I'm using something that's local and small brand in my bundle, it's going to be very hard for other people to find that. Now, if they do, if they figure out, usually in this instance, I would do a test buy of a bundle. If I see that I have, if a bundle is doing very well, I would do a test buy of it. I would see how it was packaged when it came to me, and I would see exactly what was in it. And if we can match it exactly, I will do it, and I will jump on somebody else's bundle. And sometimes people get very irate when you do that, but this is within Amazon's policy, because Amazon says if you're about to create a bundle, but there's another one out there that's exactly the same, you need to add yours as an offer on that existing bundle. That's what Amazon says. They don't want duplicate listings, and I would be creating a duplicate listing if I was selling something that was exactly the same as somebody else's. So that's another sneaky way to look around and see bundles, but you have to make sure they're exactly the same. Most of the time when I do that, I actually go and do a test buy of the existing product to check it out. And I make sure, and I'm very careful about what I'm doing, because you do want to live peaceably with other sellers. So once you create a bundle, you may not modify the components of that bundle. If you want to add or remove products from the bundle, you must create a new bundle listing with a unique UPC or match to an existing bundle listing that is identical to your revised bundle. AKA, if I'm selling my Mr. Coffee coffee pot, and I'm selling a local French vanilla flavor, I can't change that French vanilla to just regular breakfast coffee, breakfast flavored coffee, just black coffee. I can't do that. I have to create another bundle, which forces me to create another listing. So here's a little secret. If I'm doing this fairly regularly, I can create bundles that are all different very easily, because they're a different product. There's a different product inside, and you can essentially come into a market and dominate it pretty well. I touched on this when I was talking in my last video about flower foam. It's a market that you could come in and dominate and take all of the sales, because you could create a lot of variations, not on an existing listing, but a lot of different bundled offerings, and just drown out everybody on that first page. And you'd take all of the search volume from Amazon, and you would be using all of it. So bundled warranties and returns, If you list a product bundle, you must accept the entire bundle as a return and refund it as a single unit. AKA, once you bundle it, in your eyes, it's considered a single item. A bundle cannot contain any separate warranty products or extended service plans. So it's all the same thing. You have to treat it all the same. And you have to respect that. So the rest of this is essentially just how they want you to format things. They want you to tell what's in the bundle, explain. I feel like, the Daleks, explain. Sorry, if you're not a Doctor Who fan, you wouldn't get that. It's been a while since I watched Doctor Who. Sorry for the rabbit trail. It's 30 minutes in and I'm already off on rabbit trails and we're just one down. Coffee break. Okay. The rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. They're just putting you through how they want you to format the title, how they want you to format the bullet points. There is a little different bullet point format for bundles because they want you to tell the customer exactly what's in the bundle. There is a little bit of leeway on this stuff, but you should abide by it pretty good, pretty solidly. The other thing I want to touch on, and this isn't going to take nearly as long, are variation relationships, because this is oftentimes where people get the idea that bundles are not okay, and bundles are against Amazon policy. Like I said before, a lot of people who teach bundles tell you to add bundles as variations, and you actually see Amazon doing this every now and then. And I'm not sure if Amazon is doing the bundling or if they're just getting the products like that from the manufacturer. But just because Amazon does it doesn't mean we can do it. Unfortunately, it's their sandbox. They make the rules, and they decide if it's okay if they break their own rules. We have to abide by the rules, and we can still make a ton of money abiding by all the rules. So, what's a good variation? Sometimes you'll come across an item, like a coffee cup or a bag of coffee, and you'll want to sell 2 bags of coffee because it's something that people go through. It's a replenishable item. So you can create a multi-pack that's a variation and put it on the existing listing. And it's a way to garner sales immediately. And it's a great way to do it. So, elements of a variation relationship. I'm just going to touch on this really quickly. They're just walking through what you should do for variations, what you shouldn't do. And that's just to keep the Amazon catalog clean so that people, the customers, understand what they're buying, when they're buying. So parent product, non-searchable, non-buyable. Don't worry about that. Parent-child is just how they set up the variations. Variation theme defines how related products differ from each other. For example, in the clothing and accessories and luggage category, child products can differ from each other by size and color. Makes sense? You've got blue, green, and red t-shirts, but they're also in different sizes, which are small, medium, large. You can see that very quickly, you're selling t-shirts, but all of a sudden you've got 9. If you include extra large and extra small, you went from 9 listings to 15. If you add another color, if you add black, you go from 15 to 20. So you can very quickly add a lot of SKUs. Same with electronics. Here is just different colors for the same kind of thing. Best practices. Do not list different products together. So this is their best practices for variations. By different products, they mean products with different UPC codes. A cell phone charging cable and a portable charger, while related, so it might be something that you bundle the charging cable and portable charger, they're related, they're not the same product and should not be listed on the same detail page. So you shouldn't have, cell phone charger. So you shouldn't be selling a cell phone charger and then a charging cable and then a portable charger as two different variations on the same listing. A laptop bag with handles and a laptop bag without handles are two different product styles that should be listed on separate detail pages. So I think they might be a not. I'm confused about that one. Because in my mind, that would be a variation. As long as everything about the bags were the same, but one had a handle and one didn't. Like one had a shoulder strap or something and the other one didn't. If they were the exact same bag, and say that probably is the same product, it's just a variation on the product. That's something you can take a cue from the manufacturer about as well. So I'm not sure about that one. It's got me stumped. But the general idea is, if it's two different products, don't list them together. Don't list them as variations. Do not use variation themes incorrectly. They should only be used for the defined purpose. So a color variation theme must not include any information other than color. Different phone models, for example, should not be listed within a color theme. This is where people are able to kind of bend the rules on variations, and by bend I actually mean break. They're breaking this rule. They use a color variation theme, and when you use a color variation, you type in what color it is. And when you type in what color it is, it essentially, it just takes your text, because there's a lot of different colors out there. The issue is people select color and then they start adding different products. So they say it's a charging cable with a portable charger, it's a charging cable with a battery backup, it's a charging cable with something else. Amazon's saying that's not using the theme correctly. Amazon has specific themes, and they want you to use them correctly. So the main themes that you'll see are size, color, quantity. And as long as you stay within those themes, you're going to be great. When you start to step away from those themes, maybe you need to create your own listing instead of piggybacking off another listing. Create your own product listing. Yeah, you're not going to get the benefit of the reviews and the traffic, but you're going to stay within Amazon's terms of service, and that's important to keeping your account. So, to summarize, bundles are good. Amazon likes bundles. They just want you to do them in the way that they specify, which is very permissive. They let you do a lot of stuff. But what they don't want you to do is they don't want you to create a bundle and then piggyback off of a listing that's doing very well and end up confusing the customer about what they're buying. So if you create a bundle, don't list it as a variation. List it as its own product. It's not a variation of another product, even if it has another product in it. List it as its own product. If you have a multi-pack, you're supposed to list it as a multi-pack as a quantity variation. So it's a variation of an existing product. You're creating, instead of just a 1-pack, it's a 2-pack. So if you had a 1-pack of coffee, you'd create a variation that's a 2-pack, because Amazon allows multi-pack listings as variations. So essentially, stay within the variations that Amazon allows and you'll be good. And it's a great way to make a lot of money. I realize this video is long, and there's nothing I'm going to do about that. It's going to stay long. If you've stuck with me to the end, thank you. If you're not a subscriber yet and you thought this was good content and clarifying to you, this is the kind of content I like to put out. So if you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe. We're trying to grow this channel so that I don't have to charge for any of my services and I can just turn on ads. But we've got to get the channel growing a bit. So that's going to be all for today. I've already been talking at you for 40 minutes. So thank you for your time and have a wonderful day. I hope this was clarifying. Bye.